country, and it's time to get pumped up with the P-Man. Hit the door and hit the road. 94.3 The Game is going to get you home, and the P-Man's not holding back.
Yes! Yes! Pirates win! Pirates win!
Bring on the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
Holy mackerel! Oh, my goodness!
The flagship station of the ECU Pirates.
All right, 90 degrees in Greenville. The rain is all kind of south and east right now, and it's in the forecast. Who knows? Wet overnight. Welcome in. It's nice to be with you here on the Patrick Johnson Show, 94.3 The Game, and the IBX Media app. We got a lot to get to today in the program. We're going to go out to Charlotte in a little bit and hear from our friend Brett Friedlander from Saturday Road. Brett is covering ACC Media Day or ACC Kickoff. That's what everybody calls it now, but it's Media Days, and it will be, or it is in Charlotte, for another day tomorrow. So Brett will be there. We'll check in with him, get a vibe, feel of the vibe, and find out what's going on with the ACC and Florida State and Clemson and just what is happening there exactly. Also, we're going to hear more from Mike Houston today and the Pirate players, Siobhan Revel, and also we'll hear from Harris, the running back. So looking forward to that coming up from yesterday's AAC kickoff. Rajay Harris. I had a senior moment. I had a Joe Biden moment there. You know, the thing. Philip the Ref Pilkington is with us here. Got some things to get to before that, including some major news for college sports breaking today. Pilk, when you look at with Revel now, what did they call him on the telecast yesterday?
Savone.
For ESPN? Savone. That sounds French. Is that what it is now? Savone.
I don't know. It does sound French, and that's what he has claimed that he is going by now. He's changed it, or I guess his name is Savone. It's how his parents pronounce it. He went by Siobhan when he got here because somebody called him that, and he just went with it. And now
is
he
this
wants
like an Ezra Azar thing where he's going to change his name every year?
Maybe.
I mean, Ezra's name changed 3 times his first season.
Yeah, it was Osar, and I don't even
Azar.
remember what it. Azar.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, gosh, just tell the media relations guy what it is off the jump, right?
I agree.
Malcolm knows. Malcolm's got this ain't Malcolm's first rodeo.
Far from it.
Look at you sporting a USA shirt. You're ready for the Olympics, aren't you, Pards? I got some Olympic stuff I want to get into today. I know you've got some updates as well, but there's some major, I would say, major news. We knew this was coming. It's just a matter now of exactly how this will play out. The NCAA, according to Ross Dellinger, who we probably need to try to get back on the show. Ross now with Yahoo. We used to get him on when he was with SI. The NCAA is expected to approve increased scholarships across multiple sports. For football, they're going to approve an additional 20 scholarships, so that'll bring the football schollies to 105. Basketball will pick up 2 more scholarships and go to 15. That is both men and women. Baseball will go up to 34 scholarships, so 22.3 scholarships will be added to, what is it, the 11.7? Softball will get an additional 13 scholarships, so that'll be 25 full rides, and volleyball will get 6 to bring it to 18. I think our colleague and friend Brian Mull, his tweet at BG Mull on X says it all. Most hoop coaches would tell you, if they're being honest, that a 14th and 15th scholarship in this era are as useful as a football bat. I agree. Kendall Rogers tweeting out, a lot more scholarships are 100% heading to the NCAA baseball. One very important clarification is that teams can spread 18 scholarships, for instance, over 34 players. Yes, you could give out 34 full scholarships, but you can also increase it from 11.7 to 18 to 20 and then spread that over 34 players. One mid-major coach told me that makes this situation way, way more doable for mid-majors. So, My reaction to this, I agree with Brian on basketball. Do you really need 15 scholarships in basketball? I guess if you're one of the kids that's sitting in the portal now and doesn't have a home, it'd be nice to go somewhere that has a scholarship is going to expend it. But football getting 20 additional scholarships up to 105, I don't think that to me is too many. I think that number needs to be a little less, but I think more than 85 scholarships is fine. But in football, especially as everything else is now, that's a get richer thing. The baseball, I don't mind. I think it's going to be tough for a lot of places to do that. It's going to be interesting to see how East Carolina goes about that, because I know there'll be a push for 34 full schollies. And maybe it'll be something that will be built up to over time. I don't know. I do like it in volleyball. I don't mind it in softball. I think, again, 15 in basketball. Could have gone to 14, and I think that would have been fine, Pilk. I think 15 is maybe – I mean, I do agree with Brian. 14 and 15, those aren't terribly useful in this day and age in the men's game. But when you got all these players that are sitting in the portal right now that got in there and don't have a home, they'd gladly go somewhere on the 14th or 15th scholarship if it were in place right now. I bet a lot of them would. So that's the story on this. Pilk, what's your reaction to this?
Yeah, I think it's long overdue with the non-revenue sports, with how much money's being poured in college athletics. You'd like to see it. Football, 85
20
is still,
20 seems too many. 105
that's a lot
seems
of
too many.
It is, but I guess with the portal and stuff, they're viewing it as less, incoming freshmen are getting opportunities. So I guess
maybe more freshmen get opportunities.
Yeah, more freshmen get opportunities. So maybe that's the mindset. I don't know. Yeah, like you said, 20 is a lot, but right now you're already sitting at, what is that, 21 per graduating class theoretically if you have 4 classes. I guess with red shirts, it's a little less than that. So then you're adding another 5 per graduating class for 4 years. So I don't know. It's a lot, but hey, if they can afford it, they can afford it. So is what it is. But yeah, a lot of guys on the roster. I'm guessing the roster size will still be 120. Therefore, you just have less walk-ons.
So you've got this situation now where, and that's a great point about the roster size. You've got this situation now where 105 full scholarships in football. You're paying players in addition to NIL. This is just another attempt by the NCAA to placate SEC and Big Ten teams that will, not all of them even, but the vast majority of them will be able to do this. They're still brand name, big time institutions, as I understand it, that are really, really concerned about how are we going to pay people from the rev share? How are we going to do this? There's a lot to sift through. And then you're having to cut back on your staff to save money to be able to pay the athletes who may only be there a year. I'm fine with the additional scholarships, but I think there needs to be something in place where it either goes down to a one-time penalty-free transfer, and if you're going to allow multiples, then there is a penalty to sit out unless there's extenuating circumstances such as the family member situation, want to get closer to home, or there's, again, some kind of extenuating circumstances. I think with these NIL deals, these collectives, they're not going to do it because the people running the collective are craven for their respective program and programs to be championship caliber, especially in football. So they're not going to make the playoffs. So they're not going to maybe think this through the logical way and attach terms to the NIL as far as term of a deal. You got to be here at least 2 years, that kind of thing. Of course, if you're making that kind of money at the top of the NIL food chain at a big-time program, you're probably not going to go anywhere anyway. So we'll get a little bit of reaction, too, to Friedlander from that. Again, I'm anxious to catch up with Brett and get a feel for what's going on in light of what Jim Phillips said earlier in the week, that they are dug in as far as Florida State and Clemson go. I know, Pilk, we've batted around on our little show text, USA basketball, the Olympics already underway. Some of the sports are. I want to hit, though, on we can talk about the men's team with the women's team. And now I don't want to talk about the women's team. I want to talk about the WNBA All-Star game where the WNBA All-Stars beat the women's team, the U.S. Olympic women's team. That is supposedly the greatest talent that Caitlin Clark had no business being on because she was not one of the, 12 best in the world or in the United States. Did you see the numbers?
From the game?
Yeah. Did you see the rating?
Oh, no.
3.44 million.
Yeah. That's big time.
Again, you said, can Caitlin Clark save the WNBA? She kind of is.
She's close. Still a tax write-off for the NBA. But
I know. But they're closer than they've been, and it's not because of any of the UConn alums.
Yeah.
It's not because of Stewie. It's not because of it's because of one player who should be the Rookie of the Year and probably will end up being the Rookie of the Year. I bet she will come back after this Olympic break since she'll have a chance to have rested and worked out and healed a little bit because, she's – I'm not saying she's injured, but, I mean, she's been playing basketball since October.
Yeah.
Like went out of the college season right in the WNBA season. I bet she'll be phenomenal when she comes back after the Olympic break. And the $3.44 million, I will I will bet you anything, Pilk, no single men or women's basketball game in the Olympics will come close to that number of $3.44 million.
Oh, you're 100% correct on that. No way. Even if the men make the gold medal game, I don't think it's going to have that.
Not
much.
even close. Not even close. I'm less interested in talking about the women's team. The men's team is interesting because I watched that game against South Sudan. They were down. Was it double digits at halftime Sunday or Saturday or Sunday?
I think so.
Day
I was
it
at the Braves doubleheader. I know they were down big at some point.
Yeah,
they were down double digits at some point.
Yeah, they were down double digits in the first half. They may have been down double digits at halftime. And it took Le Beijing hitting a game winner with 8 seconds left to propel them to a 101-100 win. Beat Germany 92-88. Is there cause for concern here, Pilk? I mean, this group's basically been playing together for 3 weeks.
Yeah, I think there is. It comes down to, kind of what Herb Brooks said when he talked about the problem with all-star teams because they rely on the individual's talent, the coach of the 1980 USA hockey team. And the problem is with all-star teams is they don't play together. And look, this team went out against the 43rd ranked team in the world and barely won. And a little bit of that is them relying on the individual's talent. A lot of that is selfishness. The 92 Dream Team with guys like Jordan and Magic and Larry would have never had the 43rd ranked team in the world keep them within 50 points. But, this is the era we live in. It's that ISO ball. It's that positionless basketball. And you pair that with a bunch of guys who've never played together and think they're the greatest of all time. And you get an abysmal performance. Hopefully it's a wake-up call and a good kick in the pants. We don't want to relive Athens in 2004.
The South Sudan thing is a little concerning. The Germany thing is not so much. Germany's a good team.
They are. They're solid.
Germany's been that group's been together a while. They can run you could turn the lights off in the arena and they could still run their offense.
Yeah.
And the problem with a team that's only been together 3 weeks like the U.S. team is their half court gets sticky. The ball gets sticky. It doesn't flow. And when it doesn't flow, it becomes, as you say, ISO ball. It becomes hero ball. And that can work in certain instances, but, I mean, it can also bog you down, as we've seen many times. I'll say this. In the men's thing, whoever makes the Final Eight when we get to the elimination, that'll be pretty high-level basketball.
I think so.
Because those will be really 8 legitimate teams.
Yeah.
And the U.S. should be included. They've got 6
Germany,
wins, got to win that.
Usually Spain and France are good teams in the past. So, I don't know who else will make the knockout round, but those 4, I think, would definitely be the favorites. I'm sure China will be competitive. They usually are.
Are you excited about the Olympics?
Oh, I'm
You're
pumped.
excited about any sport.
Yeah, I got up this morning, was watching some sevens rugby. I know nothing about rugby, but they play 2 7-minute halves. It's 7-on-7. It's fast pace. The game only takes like 20 minutes to play. It's entertaining, man. Those guys are tough.
In 7 years, Do you know in 7 or 8 years we're hosting the Rugby World Cup in the United States?
I did not.
Did you know that?
No.
Yeah. Yeah. That's going to be a big deal. It'll be a lot of that. And they do that every 4 years. So
Okay.
it's going to be somewhere before it comes here. I think South Africa won the Rugby World Cup this past year.
They did a good job hosting the Men's Soccer World Cup, decade and a half ago or so. So that should go well.
All right, a break. Tomorrow, the great Ronald Vincent will be on the program. We'll also tell you about the Winterville Cal Ripken 12U team that is going to play in the Nationals out in Missouri. So we'll talk about that. When we come back, Brett Friedlander from SaturdayRoad.com. We'll get a check-in on what's going on out in Charlotte with the ACC kickoff. We'll also have more audio from AAC kickoff in Texas coming up here on the Patrick Johnson Show. Thanks for being with us here on this Wednesday.
The summer savings event is on at Greenville Toyota.
Enjoy your summer in a new Corolla for just $219 a month or a Highlander for only $399 a month. Got a trade? Get cash for it on the spot or trade for a new Toyota.
At Greenville Toyota.
Pirate game days, there's nothing like them. The atmosphere,
First down.
the tradition, the matchups, the magical finishes. Be a part of Pirate Game Days. Season tickets are as low as $115. Reserve your seat today to be a part of the experience of Pirate Game Days at Dowdy Ficklin Stadium this fall.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Dum-dum-dum. Get low, get low, get low. 369, ooh, she fine. Hoping she can sing it to me one more time. Get low, get low, get low, get low.
Grab a Pepsi Wild Cherry and get wild. When a place is as special as this, you don't want to change a thing. You simply want to enjoy it, just as it is. That was our inspiration behind Bow Coast West, our newest community in Beaufort, North Carolina. Embrace all that we love about this very special place and make it easy for families to enjoy all that this coastal lifestyle has to offer. Be inspired. Bow Coast West.
Get to Greenville Toyota for summer savings.
Lease new RAV4s, $319 a month. Test drive the redesigned 2025 Camry. In stock and ready for delivery. All with our advantage.
At Greenville Toyota, where our volume saves you money.
We are.
We are.
Riding shotgun with you on the drive home.
It's showtime.
This is the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
All right, kickoff for all of the college football conferences, the media events going on this week. We have the American the first 2 days of the week in Texas, all week long in Charlotte. It is the ACC. Let's go now out to Charlotte, where Brett Friedlander from Saturday Road joins us to talk a little bit about what is going on in Charlotte this week. Brett, I hope it's been a good summer for you, my friend, and hope you're well. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks. Yeah, it's been a short summer, but yeah, it's hard to believe we're almost ready to start football again.
What's the vibe in Charlotte with the new additions of SMU, Stanford, and Cal?
Well, the vibe is kind of like still disbelief. They were at the teams that were in the spotlight yesterday, and it was kind of surreal, to be honest with you. Everybody's pretty excited. I mean, there's new venues and there's new faces, and it's just a big change, but it's just kind of strange. And the biggest vibe is, how is the logistics of this going to work? It's not quite as bad for the teams over here on this side of the country, who only have to make one trip out west per season here. But Cal and Stanford are going to be making 3 trips cross country, and I believe it's Stanford that also plays Notre Dame. So there's going to be a lot of traveling. In fact, I saw a stat, and I think I even quoted it in my column yesterday, that if Cal makes it to the ACC championship game, which is a long shot since they were a 500 team last year, but if they make it to the championship game and have to come back to Charlotte in December, their total miles flown for the season will be about the same as the circumference of the world. So basically, they will have taken one trip around the entire globe.
When when these schools come in and you talk about these sort of things, I guess the players, their mind is on the task at hand. When you've talked to those coaches, what are they saying? What's the company line that the coaches are giving?
Well, the company line for the coaches, at least for the new teams, especially the 2 California teams, is they're just happy that they found a soft landing spot, because there was about a week and a half after the Pac-12 disintegrated and everybody started going their separate ways, that those 2 schools, along with Oregon State and Washington State, were basically left in limbo. And the ACC threw them a lifeline, and so they're just happy to still be power conference teams, because Washington State and Oregon State are just out there on their own now. So I think they're just happy to be affiliated with a conference and looking forward to staying on this level.
We're joined by Brett Friedlander with Saturday Road. It's the ACC kickoff, which is going on out in Charlotte right now. Let me ask you this, Brett. I thought Jim Phillips, the commissioner's statement, was fascinating this week about the situation with Florida State and Clemson. It sounded to me, based on what he said, that the ACC is dug in on this and they're not going to relent fighting this anytime soon.
That's exactly what he said, and it's a long time overdue. He should have been saying this since December, since the day Florida State filed the suit, because in the 7-8 months that have gone by since then, all you've heard was Florida State trashing the ACC and pounding its chest and furthering its argument. And then Clemson has since joined in, since they filed their suit in March, and you haven't had any response. And finally, Jim Phillips and the ACC took off their gloves and started swinging back. And I think that even though his comments did not change the dynamic of the situation, because the lawsuits are still going on, Florida State and Clemson are still playing as members of the ACC and will for at least the next 2 football seasons, from all that we're told. They're not planning on filing their exit papers by August 15th. So the one thing it did was change the narrative, and the narrative is that the ACC, like you said, is they're here and they're not gonna go quietly into the good night. They're gonna fight for survival. And to be honest with you, I don't necessarily think that the end game here is for Florida State and for Clemson to leave. I think the end game here is going to end up being that the lawsuits are designed to force the ACC into a settlement that includes an uneven distribution of revenue,
right,
that gives the schools that bring in the most value, being Florida State, Clemson, North Carolina, Miami, and maybe Virginia, get a much bigger piece of the pie than the Wake Forest, Boston Colleges, Syracuse's, and Georgia Tech's of the world. I think that's eventually what's going to happen because right now you've got 3 dueling lawsuits in 3 different jurisdictions, and from all the the evidence that we've seen on the motions, home court advantage in all of those is going to be important. And so I think it's going to be years rather than months before anything gets decided. And then once that happens, there'll be appeals. And I think before all that comes down, there will be some sort of negotiated settlement. And I don't think it's going to be a dissolving of the ACC, because if you're Florida State and you really, really want to get out, the question you have to ask yourself is why. When I was first out of college and starting the working world, my dad gave me advice, and he said, never leave one job until you have another one lined up.
Right.
Well,
right.
The Big Ten and the SEC have both said that they're not interested in expanding in general, and they're not interested in Clemson and Florida State in particular. So if you're Florida State and they've said that and they let you go, what are you going to do? You're going to go to the Big 12, which has even less revenue than the ACC, or you're going to try to make it as an independent like Notre Dame? Good luck getting your own TV contract. I mean, and even if you do go into the SEC, the chances of you getting into the playoff, even a 12-team playoff, are much less there than in the ACC, where you just have to finish higher than Clemson. Look what Oklahoma did in the Big 12. Every year, it was either Texas or Oklahoma, 1-2, 1-2, right? Well, they go to the SEC, and did you see where Oklahoma was picked to finish last week when they had their poll? 7th. So if you're Florida State, that's what you have to look forward to. So it's going to be interesting to follow this, but right now I think it's basically just a war of words, and I was impressed for a change by the words that Jim Phillips threw out there.
Brett Friedlander from Saturday Road is with us. Wouldn't the ACC almost be as dug in about a weighted revenue share? Isn't that a little bit of a slippery slope also?
It is, but if it saves the conference, if it saves the conference, then you have to explore it. And private equity, I've heard that being thrown around and everything. I don't think that's the answer either, because there are 2 things about private equity that you have to remember. Number one is they're worried about the bottom line, not about winning and losing, and about being the best conference in the country. The other thing, too, is any money that they inject into you now is a short-term solution, because eventually they're going to want it back, and they're going to want it back with a profit. So, eventually you're going to have to pay the piper, and you may end up being in worse shape than ever. So I think it's not something that they really want, but I think it's the lesser of all evil.
As pitiful as college athletic departments are in handling their money, they don't want to get in the waters with private equity.
No, I mean it's really
that's a whole different ball game.
Yeah, because then you become the North Carolina Bojangles Tar Heels. It's crazy.
It's just, but I mean, it just doesn't. It won't make. I mean, that's like you say, that might short term be a solution, but I mean, it's not. That's not a long term play. I mean, It could be for the conference to maybe sell its rights or whatever, but I mean, it just starts naming rights or. But I mean, for it really is kind of ridiculous if you're an institution to do that. It's going to happen. I mean, I think we're soon. They were talking about this yesterday. Go ahead, Brett. Go ahead.
Selling the naming rights of the conference is. I mean, you might as well do it because it's not the Atlantic Coast Conference anymore. You got 2 teams on the Pacific Coast there, so you might as well sell it to something that starts with an A, right?
Right. Exactly. Well, and the new commissioner of the American was talking about yesterday. Seeing patches on uniforms like we see now in the pros, and that could be money that could be used to pay the student athletes. So, I mean, that's, I think all of that's on the table, and I'm fine with that. I don't think anybody's got a problem with taking advantage of the real estate. What has been the vibe around Clemson and Florida State individually coming in to the season here in Charlotte?
The vibes are different. Clemson, first of all, Clemson hasn't got here yet, so they're here tomorrow. But I just kind of get the feeling that they are taking a much different approach than Florida State. Florida State is a very combative situation, and Mike Norvell in particular, his personality is that kind of aggressive personality, and so you just kind of got the feeling that they're being defiant. I mean, yeah, they're in the ACC, but they feel like they're better than everybody else in the room, and you kind of get that feeling from them. But Clemson, and this goes back to Dabo's personality, is definitely much more passive aggressive, and so that's the approach that they've taken.
Yeah, a lot of people hack on Dabo. I like Dabo. Dabo's been good to
I
me,
like
so
Dabo,
I like Dabo
too, but
yeah.
but you got to admit though he he doesn't come right out and scream at you. He gives you that backhanded compliment. He's like I said, he's more passive aggressive.
We're talking to Brett Friedlander. Okay, so a lot of high hopes for NC State this year. Obviously, they have the potential to have a really special season. Got a big matchup earlier in the year with Tennessee. With the Pac, will Dave Doran allow the offense to be what it could potentially become, you think?
I think he has to because he's got the weapons this year. Last year it was they talked about he was going to do it, and he just didn't have the pieces. But he brought in Grayson McCall from Coastal Carolina to play quarterback, 3-time Sun Belt Conference Player of the Year. He's got KC Concepcion already, but he loaded up on transfer wide receivers, including Noah Rogers, a local kid from the Triangle who played at Ohio State last year. And he went out and got some running backs, including Jordan. The kid from Jordan Waters, I believe it is, from Duke. And so he's got the pieces, and we'll see. It's really interesting on NC State because traditionally when the expectations for NC State have been their highest, that's when NC State usually accomplishes the least. Okay, it's the law of the wolf, right? Well, that whole thing has changed. The whole dynamic of NC State's athletic department has just been turned upside down over the last 6 to 8 months. I mean, actually less than that, the last 4 months. They win the ACC tournament in basketball, go to the Final Four. The women's team goes to the Final Four. The baseball team goes to the College World Series. And there's just this momentum right now within the program. And I think that the stakes have been raised on Dave Doran because, up until March, winning 10 games, getting over that 10-win hump, that double-digit win hump was the goal. That was the stated, this is our next level. Well, now you bypass that because, the basketball team has proven that you can win ACC championships in the major sports. And now they're on the clock. And now it's not just win 10 games. It's win 10 games and bring home a trophy. And it can be done this year because I think the ACC is very wide open. Florida State is going to be good. They've filled a lot of holes with transfers, but you never know how transfers are going to either pan out or mesh. Clemson last year finished behind NC State in the standings, so it's there for the taking if they can take it.
Brett, there's the legislation that was filed that would have NC State and North Carolina play each other every year, but also in basketball and football play East Carolina, Charlotte, and App State. It would be on a rotating basis. Of course, the Speaker of the House spiked it, but we're told that there is still a lot of momentum for it possibly coming about, and then maybe it would be revisited early next year. We'll see. Where are you on that? Because, I understand that at least the ADs at those places have been open when it comes to discussing this with lawmakers. The football coaches, not so much at those respective institutions. But with these conferences as expansive as they are now, what's wrong with an in-state non-conference game that, with in particular some of these places, fans would enjoy it and it'd bring a lot of money to the communities?
Well, first of all, I'm all for it as well. But I believe that politicians need to stay in their lane and stay out of college sports because they've got in my opinion, a lot more important things to spend their time discussing and working on. But that's number one. And number two, as these conferences expand, you're going to see them go to a 9-game conference schedule sooner than later. And that's only going to leave 3 non-conference possibilities unless they extend the regular season, which I don't see happening. And because of that, they're going to want games that are national, that are that enhance their chances to get into playoff, and also, not tax them because they've got to, worry about conference games. So I think that the shortening of the window is going to make it more difficult to legislate that. We shall see. Listen, NC State just canceled its home and home with Appalachian State.
Yeah, right.
And so they're going in the opposite direction in practice as opposed to in theory. You want to bring more of those games out.
It was reported by Ross Dellinger that they're upping scholarship limits. What's your feel on that? They're going to add 20 in football, add 2 in basketball, which I think if you ask any coach, truthfully, in the country right now, and the way basketball conducts itself on the men's side, do we really need 2 more scholarships? I guess they do. But what's your feel on that? I mean, is that more of the dividing line between the haves and the have-nots?
Probably. And the other thing is, are we calling them scholarships still? Because with this House settlement,
right, yeah.
If it gets approved, they're going to end up basically being employees. And, so it's not really scholarships. So, maybe it means that you get to give some money to a walk-on. I don't necessarily think that maybe in football you can use those because with injuries and things like that and opt-outs and transfers, it's hard to keep a full roster. But in basketball, do you really? I mean, these teams already have 12 guys on scholarship, okay? And realistically, you have an 8 or sometimes maybe a 9-man rotation, and the other 3 guys are just there in case of injury or to play, or to fill out practice at a time, the scout team. So I have to see how this works, but I think the changing landscape and this whole antitrust settlement kind of throws all this into limbo, and I'm not quite sure how it's going to end up getting implemented.
It just seems like we're trying to build the plane while it's flying. It just every decision is made without any forethought. Yeah, exactly. Hey, Brett, awesome to talk to you as it always is.
Every decision that's been made here recently is no forethought. I mean, the ACC, right? I mean, California and Stanford. Okay, why did they do it? Well, they did it because the Pac-12 started disintegrating. The Big Ten and SEC, or the Big Ten and Big 12 are adding teams. We better do so too. What do we got left? Let's go give it. And they gave no thought at all to what that means to the soccer team, to the tennis team, to the swimming team, and the logistics involved with having them have to play in California. And instead of taking a bus down to Georgia Tech or to UVA, now you get on. Now you got to get on a plane, and probably it's going to be a commercial plane, and fly out to the next coast. So, foresight and thought are something that has gone out the window when it comes to college sports.
Just real ham-handed in all their decisions, really. Hey, Brett, awesome to talk to you as it always is. I'm sure we'll talk to you throughout the upcoming months. I appreciate you always doing this. I really do. Great insight and great reporting as always. Check out Brett on SaturdayRoad.com. Brett, thanks.
Anytime, Patrick.
Let's hit a timeout here. When we come back, Philip the Ref Pilkington with the 94.3 The Game Sports Flash Update and Pirate Report. And we'll hear some audio from AAC Media Day, AAC kickoff from yesterday. More from Mike Houston and the Pirate players.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
252-946-1227.
Summer is here and Sawyer's Fun Park is having a toddler summer special. From 10 a.m. to 12 noon, Monday through Friday, Sawyer's has a $10 2-hour unlimited pass for ages 2 to 4. That's one toddler and one parent for just $10 every weekday morning. Sawyer's Fun Park summer hours are Monday through Thursday from 10 to 8, Fridays and Saturdays from 10 to 9, and Sundays from 12 to 8. Book your tickets online at SawyersFunPark.com and beat the heat this summer at Sawyer's Fun Park.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human, about creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's Cut in Color and let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
252-946-1227.
Philip Pilkington here with your 94.3 The Game Sports Flash Update and Pirate Report. The Pirates added some depth to the pitching rotation late yesterday afternoon when they got Texas A&M transfer Brett Andlick. The rising sophomore right-hander pitched in just 4 games last season, but was a top 350 national recruit in the class of 2023. AAC Media Days wrapped up yesterday. Commissioner Tim Pernetti talked about the importance of an expanded college football playoff.
We've all read about, and I've spoken and gone on the record to say we believe in more postseason football opportunities for student athletes. To be clear, more. I want you to focus on that word. More means additive. The CFP is a paramount relationship to the American, providing the opportunity to all of our coaches and all of our student athletes to compete every year for a national championship.
Pirate head coach Mike Houston also spoke to the media, and he talked about how excited he is about his roster heading into this season.
We return a lot of experienced players, particularly on the defensive side of the football. And that defensive unit was a very strong unit last year, and we expect it to be as strong or stronger again this year. But just the cohesiveness in our locker room between our returning players on both sides of the ball and our new additions that have come in, just feel really good about our roster going into fall camp.
The games of the 33rd Olympiad are underway in Paris. The U.S. didn't have a great start as the men's rugby team opened the day with a draw against France and then were slaughtered by Fiji. They will play their final group game tomorrow at 9 a.m. against Uruguay, which will be a must-win if they want to keep their medal hopes alive. The soccer team fell to the host nation France today 2-0 in their opening game of group play. Speaking of the Olympics, when the tennis begins on Saturday, There will be a big name not in the tournament as world's number one Yannick Sinner has pulled out as he has tonsillitis. He started experiencing symptoms Monday night. Doctors strongly recommended him to not participate in the games. Former Cowboys wide receiver Michael Gallup retired today at the age of 28 after 6 NFL seasons. He signed a one-year contract with the Raiders back on April the 30th worth $3 million. That'll do it for your 94.3 The Game Sports Flash Update and Pirate Report. We're going to take a quick time out here on the Patrick Johnson Show, and then we'll wrap it up with comments from Mike Houston, Savon Revel, and Rajay Harris.
Air Service is back at Pitt Greenville Airport, offering safe, clean facilities and flights from American Airlines. That means the short commute, quicker lines, and better prices that get you where you're going fast and easy. See it for yourself. There's great things inside at Pitt Greenville Airport. Storm season is approaching. North Carolina weather can damage your roof, and before long, a small leak can turn into a big problem. Your home is one of your biggest investments, so protect it with Wells Home Improvements.
We work with all insurance companies for a hassle-free roof installation experience. Call us today and get 10% off your roof installation when you mention this commercial.
252-227-8403 or visit us online at wellshomeimprovements.com. Wells Home Improvements. Local, honest, dependable.
Big tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master.
When a place is as special as this, you don't want to change a thing. You simply want to enjoy it, just as it is. That was our inspiration behind Bow Coast West, our newest community in Beaufort, North Carolina. Embrace all that we love about this very special place, and make it easy for families to enjoy all that this coastal lifestyle has to offer. Be inspired. Bow Coast West.
Let's go! Woo! Woo! Yeah! Football time!
Set the tone. Kyle, tie your shoes, tie your shoes. Yeah, good job.
Woo!
Grab a Pepsi Wild Cherry and get wild.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
Air Service is back at Pitt Greenville Airport, offering safe, clean facilities and flights from American Airlines. That means the short commute, quicker lines, and better prices that get you where you're going fast and easy. See it for yourself. There's great things inside at Pitt Greenville Airport.
And now, the stunning conclusion of the show. It's the P-Man here on 94.3 The Game.
All right, since we heard from Mike Houston yesterday, and we don't have the most time in the world because there's one other story I want to get to, let's hit the players today, Pilk. We'll save the Houston audio for tomorrow or maybe next week. But let's start with Savon, Revel.
Do you want to be French or Southern? Make up your mind, Patrick.
Well, that's how everybody else is going to say it around here. Revel. Savon. It reminds me of the great Bill Leslie, who used to say Macron when he was anchoring the morning news to make himself sound a little more uppity. For not your granddaddy's WRAL or Big Five. Revel with the mode that they're there to show folks they aren't a 2-10 team. Hit it.
I mean, we really want to show that, like, that 2-10 last year, it's not us.
Yeah.
We got a standard at ECU, and we want to show everybody what we got. And we got some weapons on offense and defense, and everybody know how our defense is. So I really ain't got to explain too much, but our offense, Coach, what's it? JDB?
Yeah, JDB.
Coach JDB, he really, like, he's not playing. He's going to go out there and show the whole conference, like, what we is.
All right, and then how are they going to turn it around? He explained this.
I mean, just take it day by day, stacking days, really just keeping our head on the swivel for real. Don't think about the 2-10 record. Just like Big John said, Rajay said, bro, like, we got a standard here, and like we want to prove to everybody that last year is not us. That's not us. Like, we want to execute. We want to understand. Like, we want everybody to understand like who we is for real.
And then Revel. Would that be French pronounced? Would that be pronounced like a French accent too?
I don't know. I feel like French, they always have the E at the end. After
Right.
the
Maybe we
consonant.
need to put an E at the end.
Maybe. Revel.
On how difficult it was missing time this spring.
Can't tell you how stressful I was. Spring and summer, just watching everybody else practice. I just wanted to get out there, but it wasn't too. Just helping the younger players out and helping them with the plays and helping them understand how to practice and stuff. Really, just because I ain't think too much of it. I work out every day. I'm a self-motivated person, so I'll just take it step by step for real.
Was that a case where the music was playing again during the show?
Yeah.
Like during the BSPN
broadcast.
Plus production?
Oh, yeah. Like every Houston cut that we're going to hear tomorrow has got like background.
There's music?
Yeah. It's pretty bad. Anything
Rajay
Disney
Harris
touches turns to crap.
Rajay Harris on JBD's. I get a check, Pilk. Settle down. On JBD's style of offense, Rajay Harris, hit it.
Up-tempo type offense, fast type offense, electric, taking shots. Man, I can go on for days about JDB and his offense, but we just keep it short. We just trying to score points, score more points than our opponents, and we know what our defense going to do. We just got to do it ourselves.
He likes the new energy affiliated with this team.
The energy is great from everybody, the coaches, the players, the locker room, man, and all the guys we brought in, man, and all the guys that are just there. You feel what I'm saying? That haven't been there, man. I'm just ready to see everybody ball out and let the work just show.
Well, haven't we just missed player sound bites, Pilk? It's the missing ingredient on this show the last several months, player sound bites. So, no comment, huh? All right, so the TNT matched Amazon's offer for the NBA rights, Warner Brothers Discovery, which owns Turner, which I was probably within their contract to do that, but they matched the whatever 1 point whatever billion that it was. And apparently, it's been reported today the NBA has turned down the TNT offer in lieu of the Amazon streaming offer. A statement from Turner and Warner Brothers Discovery, we think the NBA has grossly misinterpreted our contractual rights with respect to the 2025-26 season and beyond, and we will take appropriate action. I don't know what that appropriate action is, but it sounds like that they're not going to take this sitting down. My guess is the Turner guys will wind up on Amazon with their studio show. If Amazon were smart, that's what they would do. If ESPN were smart, they'd actually hire them.
Yeah, they would, because those are the best guys. And it sounds like Turner's out there trying to say that the NBA is an unrestricted free agent, and we matched the other team's offer, so you got to stick with us. It sounds like what they're saying.
They're saying it's a I can't imagine there has to be something in there.
Yes.
Yeah, there has to be something in their contract that allows them to, if they match an offer or match plus $1 or something, that they retain the rights for. I mean, there has to be. Why else would they have done it?
Yeah.
Why else would they have matched the offer?
Yeah, I mean the
NBA is interpreting it as we have the right of refusal.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the only thing that you would think that Warner Brothers or Turner's, whatever the heck it is now, would be thinking is, hey, we have a proven track record. They don't. You know, they've done a dozen NFL games, and that's about it. So maybe that they thought the match was good enough. But I'm with you. I think I was just playing devil's advocate because I do agree with you that must be something in the current deal.
What the NBA wants from Amazon is subscriber information. And that's what they're going to get from this deal with Amazon. They're going to get subscriber information so then they can use that to try to sell you more NBA-related products or get an idea on the demographics that are watching their games. So, I understand that. When people say, who's going to watch this? Well, it's not. They don't care who's going to watch it.
Well, the salary cap keeps going up, so somebody's watching it.
Well, the people are paying for the rights for it, or the media is paying for the rights for it.
And that's what's driving the salary cap up.
The ratings go down.
Yeah. But the point is, somebody's watching. Otherwise, the media rights still wouldn't be as good as it is.
Well, look, live sports are the thing that will be the last thing on cable to go. When cable goes, it's going to be live sports. It'll be the last. Live sports is the thing that'll keep cord cutters from cord cutting.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, because they can find a way to get the local news.
Yeah.
You get that with the pair of the rabbit ears. You don't got to put aluminum foil on them anymore.
Well, you could. There's just so many ways to. But that's the thing that could save the cord cutters.
Yeah.
Thanks to Brett Friedlander. He was great today. Awesome to have him on. Thanks to Pilk as well. Tomorrow, the legendary Ronald Vincent will be on the show. He recently went into the High School Hall of Fame nationally, so we'll talk to RV about that and have a lot more from the community. Looking forward to that. All right, catch you in the morning on Talk of the Town, and then back here for the Patrick Johnson Show on Thursday. Don't forget, Best of Friday right here on 94.3 The Game. Have a good evening, everybody.